What is up, guys? Today's video, we're gonna tear into this MB100 mini bike. We got this thing bolted to the dyno back here. We got a performance exhaust system we're gonna try out on this thing. And then we got a round slide Mikuni style carburetor coming in for this. Traditionally like one you would see on dirt bikes and ATVs, which is gonna be a little bit larger carb setup. We're gonna delete the governor. Not the way you should probably do it, so to each his own. Do it at your own risk because these flywheels are not rated for the RPM we're about to push today. But we're gonna push the limits on this Chinese engine and just see what happens.
Right away you'll see we got some janky stuff going on. So they had the governor spring all jacked up on this thing. So I made my own custom rod out of copper. Not feasible, but we're gonna be deleting all this later in the video, guys. Plans are today, just see what kind of power this thing puts down to the rear wheel. Now guys, where I left off in the last video, you're gonna see that I was like 2.9. This tire came in with an air leak, so I have addressed that issue. So now the dyno results won't be moving around so much. So as the tire pressure went down, the results were getting skewed. So I would have to keep pumping the tire up. And if I worked on the bike for 45 minutes, it's like, oh crap, forgot to put air in it. So that problem's since been fixed. And so very important to maintain accuracy, especially if you're like doing a build or just want to stay consistent. So we got the correct tire pressure in this thing now. So we are going to be getting the round slide carbon. Like I said, we're going to slap the exhaust on this thing that we got. Just an Amazon exhaust system. Actually pretty good quality. I'm pretty surprised. Check this thing out. Check her out, guys. I'll leave a link in the description. We're going to see if this thing makes power. If anything, it looks good. Nice TIG welds here, guys. Not really bad on the inside of that. I've seen a lot worse. So we're liking that, guys. Right now, I've took the little shroud that was on this off. So this is the only modification done other than deleting the governor, guys. Now before, I think we were getting somewhere in around 29 to 3K with all that set up. Deleted all that, popped the spring. This here is just on the inner spring here. I do not recommend doing this. Do it the right way, delete your governor, build your engine to maintain that high of RPM. So we already did a couple passes stock with a slightly modded machine. And as you can see, guys, we had 1.4, 1.4, 1.5, and then started diving off to 1.3 horsepower. I will say, guys, I think this has a 70 main jet in this carburetor. I drilled out the idle circuit ever so slightly. I just went up, I sized it with my drill bits. Sorry, I didn't take the measurement. Can't remember off the top of my head what I made the pilot circuit, but I did just size it up, and then I went up the next size drill bit on my mini pits back here. So the idle circuit is a little bit more enriched from factory, and we are a little bit more enriched already for this exhaust system setting at a 70 main. So let's bolt this thing up. Let's see if we can beat our 1.55 horsepower, guys. So we got everything set up on the dyno. We got the exhaust mounted up. Take a look at this thing. Man, don't look too bad, guys. It definitely doesn't look too bad. Nice. Now I forgot to add, guys, that I do have an airbox mod. Sorry about that, guys. My battery died. I just was saying how we had an airbox mod here. I forgot to add, but we're geared up and ready to see what this sucker puts down. We were hitting about 1.4, 1.5 was our best pull on that one. So we'll just see what happens, guys.
not good, guys. One, I could feel it on the dyno. A couple of those results, that's why I ran it a little more than usual. We're getting skewered because this thing is so bad on the bottom side. Once it gets to the top, it's okay. A lot of that I think might have to do with this little snail of a carburetor. The Venturi is so small. I'm not sure what size the Venturi actually is, but the one we're getting in today is a 19 millimeter. So I think that will help this exhaust shine. But guys, you better think twice about just bolting one of these exhausts up and thinking you're gonna make more power. It's not gonna happen. Guys, yeah, so just for the stock carburetor on this bike, I really don't think you want this exhaust system. We already upjetted. I already played around with this exhaust a little bit and put the stock one back on. But we're gonna see if the more air in, more air out theory will work with this 19 millimeter carburetor that we got coming in, guys. But we'll take a look at the results. We lost power instantly and even raised the main jet to 70. So yeah, without a doubt, guys, you probably don't want to buy this exhaust system, bolt it up and think you're going to gain more power, because you can tell it was vibrating bad on the dyno, just trying to finally get past like the midway point around the mid section, and then up top it was where it finally started to feel kind of okay, but you could 100% tell it's not making as near as much power as the stock exhaust system. The combination of the carb may be a different story, but you can see, like, look how much smaller this is, you know, that outlet pipe there. So that has a lot to do with it. Yes, we weren't running it without the screws. Just for testing purposes, guys, could have had some screws in there to seal things up a little better. Here's the results, guys. Clean down to 1.12 horsepower and 1.18 horsepower. So not good. The other few pools, a couple of them got messed up there because the bike was chugging so hard trying to get up the power. And yeah, so you could feel it big time. So that was messing with my hall sensor because it was shaking everything in the dyno. Now soon, once I get into building the planks and stuff for this thing, we're gonna bolt it down, guys, and that'll probably help with some vibration, but that it shouldn't be vibrating like that anyhow. Any other bike won't do that. But yeah, so we hit max RPM there around the same 43, 4400 RPM, which, you know, before on the stock bike, you're going to be down around 3,000 from my last dyno testing on this engine here, guys. So let's compare to the stock exhaust system, and we'll be right back. Real interesting data, guys. Let me come down here to the actual computer screen. The GoPro is kind of horrible with seeing this. Check this out. So up top here was the stock exhaust system. You can see where we struggled on this power curve here, like way down the bottom. It took forever. This is where all the vibration was occurring, guys, right in here. You know, on the stock slightly modified exhaust here, look at the peak power curve shift here. It just did not like this pipe whatsoever, guys. I know I could play around with jetting for a little while, and again, I already messed around with this pipe a little bit, and that's when I decided to get rid of it, because it had an erratic idle like crazy because of the governor spring was all mangled up from the last guy. I was trying to get it right, and I thought, you know what, we're gonna delete it anyway with this carb that's coming in. And again, I err on the side of caution with doing this modification, and if you're gonna delete the governor, you probably wanna split the case and get all the governor components out of there, and then seal up your hole, and you'll be good to go. We were gonna go that route maybe eventually, but we're gonna see how much this engine can take. If we blow it up, we'll probably get the Predator version anyway. There's more parts available, I think, for that engine anyway. I know they have a billet flywheel and stuff for that, so that'll be an option too if we do switch over to that. But we also have a larger Subaru engine that we might look to custom put on this thing too, guys. Yeah, guys, so it just goes to show, you know, if you're the Joe Smo that, you know, or buys one of these and you're not really mechanically inclined, you don't work on small engines much, it's not always rocket science to do a little digging and find out, you know, but you buy a performance exhaust, and this goes for a lot of different stuff. It could be, you know, your chainsaws, from dirt bikes to ATVs to go-karts to mini bikes. If you start adding, you know, start giving it more air, well, you're gonna need more fuel. So, you know, just got to think of that. Sometimes you could buy like a pipe and throw it on a bike, and it might give you pretty good results just because of where your jetting was. So, you know, if you buy a performance exhaust, don't half-ass the jetting. And, you know, this one's so horrible, guys. If you mount this up to the stock engine, you're going to be like, whoa, let's put the stock exhaust back on. So I thought I'd just throw that out there, guys. All right, guys. So we got the Nibby carburetor in. For one, I want to stop and say, I wish I would have did an unboxing and all that, but it came in this awesome packing, stickers, a jet assortment kit, an extra low speed jet, an extra 3 extra high speed jets or main jets. This is the air filter. Oh, and really, really nice packaging. Like, I'm beside myself on how much quality these Nibby carbs. And I did have a pitter come in, and I did a little bit of work on a wheel and tuned it a little bit for the guy. And I will say that it was a noticeable difference, because I've ridden other similar pit bikes in power and power delivery, hands down to Nibby. But we got it bolted up here, guys. We're gonna get our filter on here. I believe we're a little lean. I want right to a 70 main jet, because that's what we had in the other carb. But I really think that now we're gonna turn on this exhaust. All right, guys, so I just want to show you real quick, crank her up real quick here. I still need to get a filter on the end of that. I'm just going to use a gas cap, fancy gas cap breather for now. I have to go down to the other old shop and get one of those. Let's see what we got here. So the stock pilot circuit on here worked pretty good. It comes with a spare as well, like a 32 or something. It's got a 70 in it now, which is too lean. And I'm gonna let you see what a lean fuel mixture looks like, and I'm gonna show you a little trick. Well, now it's not too bad. It was bogging out. Maybe it was just leaned out on fuel a little bit. Wow, guys. Much better. All right, so guys, I was about ready to rejet it. I'm glad I tested that again. It was probably just a little bit of hiccup in the fuel delivery there, which was leaning out the fuel mixture a little bit. I'm going to put this filter on this thing, and we're just going to do a couple passes on the dyno. I'll worry about this filter and button stuff up a little later. This is a mess, I know, guys. Just for a reference, look how tiny that Venturi is on this carburetor here. It's a little snail, so this is really going to help this breathe. I don't think it'll be nothing like too substantial, but I bet it'll be a lot better crisp throttle response, and we should make a little bit more power, I'm sure. So yeah, I slightly took the carb, it rumbles, it rips. So we got to step the jet size up from a 70. A 70 is just a little too lean, guys. 78 main jet now. We'll see what that does. right, guys, with choking the carb out, looks like we're about 1.3, 1.4 horsepower. And that means I'm give or take on the fuel mixture there. So I'm gonna get in these jets and see if we have anything bigger than the 78. If not, we have an issue. We might be running or drilling a jet or running this on choke. I don't have these style jets. I have ones very close, but these are a lot smaller than the standardized Mikuni ones that I have. Yeah, so choking the carb out got us there. We're gonna pull this 78 out and upsize it with my bits. You can see we got 1.3 and 1.45, so we are coming in on rich probably since it started making more power. So there's a look at the graph, guys. So we'll go ahead. The graph looks better than what it did. It feels good. Definitely feels good once it makes power on the dyno. So we're not quite where we were. We didn't beat stock numbers yet at 1.5, but we're right around what we were with the stock exhaust system. So I think this exhaust is starting to come into play. Is it going to be a real huge difference? Maybe not. Not too crazy, but there's only one way to find out. All right, guys, I had a PZ22. I had an 80 main jet in that. So it saved us pulling the jet out and drilling it, popped that out of another carburetor. We have an 80 main jet in here now. Let's see if this thing wants to run a little better now. Alright guys, I think we made a little more horsepower. I think we had our best 1.58 horsepower, guys. It's coming out of the bottom terribly. So we're going to try a needle height adjustment. What we're going to do is lower or raise the needle up one to enrichen the fuel and through the mid-range power. We're going to give that a shot, guys. Alright guys, that's definitely a tedious little needle to adjust a clip. We moved it to needle 4 position to enrichen the fuel. We're gonna see what happens here, guys. Climbing for more power. We just hit 1.58, 1.59, 1.62 horsepower. We're just coming out of the bottom terribly. All right, guys, I did my first road test. We hit 23 mile an hour, so that's a little better than what we were doing. That's for sure. So we picked up about 3 to 4 mile an hour on the top end. You can feel the top end's definitely better for sure. So we had 23 mile an hour. Bone stock when we got this thing was 19. It's just really sluggish out of the hole, guys. So we're gonna try and see maybe bolting the stock exhaust system up. I don't know, maybe the exhaust might not like it because that was evident before we even did a carb swap. So we'll have to tinker around a little more with this thing. Hey guys, what's up? We're back. It's been about 24 hours me messing around. I got a few more bells and whistles that I've been wanting to do to the dyno since the 24-hour break of me having some issues with the dyno software, just a little quirk, and it ironed right out. Yeah, so we got the air fuel ratio, a wideband sensor hooked up. It's working pretty good for this bike. I'm excited to try it out on other bikes. It's just a live display right above my laptop here, and so I want to wire it into the software eventually. I want to get the bells and whistles worked out of the wideband setup standalone before I put it into where it comes up in the software. long story short, guys, like a dummy, I wasn't coming out of the bottom like earlier in the video because of the fuel screw setting, and the stock carb doesn't have a fuel screw setting, and it's not really tunable like the dirt biker ATV style carb. Anyhow, we're making great numbers. This thing with the stock exhaust, so I'm not driving my neighbors crazy, is actually putting down around, what do we have here, 2.4, 2.5 horsepower from the stock 1.4 to 1.5 horsepower. So 1 horsepower improvement, guys. I was rolling out the exhaust system earlier in the video, and I almost want to take that back now because of just flat out tuning. So what we're going to do is show you guys the graph, and we are going to bolt up this performance exhaust one more time and just see what kind of power differences we make. We're making around, like I say, 2.5 horse, 2.5, 2.6 horse. I also, the graph looks so much better now, guys. I'm going to shut the light off for you here real quick, just so no glare or anything. So I'm reading direct RPM now. I redid a whole new cable. I was having trouble with that, and I said, you know what? And that seemed to fix the issue with actually reading live RPM, guys. If you look up here at the screen, I'm looking for my screwdriver here, guys. If you look up here in the screen, you're about to see it looks better. So, you know, the torque curve and everything looks almost how it should be. So we are revving out about 5,500 RPM, making max power right up top there too. This is what it's showing on the dyno, guys. So that's interesting, you know, how we're putting it down to the rear wheel. So the governor delete, in my opinion, if you're not getting the $5,000, yeah, you might want to, you know, when it was warming up, it's pretty linear the whole way across, and then as I got it warmed up, because you can see my first pull was 2.1 or 2.15 horsepower, and then we were hitting 2.6, 2.5. So anyhow, you know, I'm learning and learning and learning with just trying to become a performance tuner with, you know, mini bikes, dirt bikes, any kind of smaller dirt bikes. That's really what I'm getting into. And I will honestly say we're going to check out this wideband sensor I rigged up, and no, it is not my idea. I stole it off another guy. I seen it on his video. I said, surprisingly isn't real hot back here, because I was just using it and kept telling myself I was fat on the main jet, because we had a drilled jet up from an 80, size the 80. We have the 80 back in it now, and it's performing good. I put a 72 in it with this setup, and it was too lean. So it's somewhere between a 72 and an 80 to get it spot on. But we're still a little rich. I'm going to leave it there, especially for bolting up this performance exhaust one more time, guys. So let's get this performance exhaust bolted up and make some more noise and see just one, if my air fuel meter works properly. I was having a little trouble with the pitter back here, but the muffler's a little funky and I can't get the breather tube down in there like I'd like. But yeah, so let's give it a try, guys.
Now, for one, I want to say that some reason this was saying it was just rich non-stop. So yeah, we're gonna have to definitely have to figure some stuff out here for sure. Maybe like a stand or something I can get to hold that up if I'm running the bike. But now it's even saying rich non-stop on that, so it's interesting. So I'll shut the light off here, guys, and we will show you the results. The graph's coming up much better now that we're getting RPM reading. I like it much more. So we see we got 2.2 and 2.27, 2.21, 2.27. You can see up here our top was our 2.6 on the stock exhaust system, which is much more power. So now here's the thing, we bolted that right up, no tuning. It's going to be sweet once I get the air fuel ratio wideband sensor working how it should. So yeah, it's not liking the sniffer's not liking this exhaust, so I'll probably play around with this some more and we'll bring it back in here at some point. But this just goes to show for you guys, the bigger car obviously is going to make a little bit more power. Removing your governor is even going to get you a little more power. It's showing us that even with the exhaust system, guys, even with the exhaust system, if you look at that on our dyno, it's showing that. Okay, and one of the reasons I don't want to end the video with doing a whole lot more tuning around this exhaust, could you equal the power of the stock exhaust and maybe creep past it? I think it's possible, because I did do that right before we started having some software issues. I did see there was a point to where I made a fraction of more power with that exhaust. So guys, if you're putting one of these open exhaust on here, this might be just a little too big. Compare to jet, the carburetor swap, air filter swap, that is probably going to be much better for you guys than just take that little plate off the top if you have the same style bike, and it'll open the outlet up a little more, because there's like a baffle piece that kind of goes over. So yeah, so interesting though. And let me show you something here, guys, that's really interesting, and I almost didn't catch, guys. Hold on a second here. Let's turn this light off and I'll show you something here about this pipe. I know this camera sucks, GoPro sucks, that's why I'm turning the light off. We're gonna get a better camera eventually, guys. Look at the red and the blue here, okay? 2.2 and 2.2, the blue and the red. So look at the torque gain we got there. So we definitely hit some torque gains here. So as you can see, this is our stock exhaust system all the way up top, and the dotted, or wait a minute, here's our torque curve for that as well. But right here, right out of the hole, it seemed to have a lot better torque, or out here even, which is interesting. So I don't know how accurate this is, because that is a reading from back here and then clean through. So the torque, like I've said before, might be a little bit. Here's where you want to pay attention in the graph when this roller's moving here out. So honestly, if you look at the graph, it's not much different out here. So I would say, I'll be willing to bet that, you know, because that solid line right here was us. So, and again, yeah, it's pretty flat line right in through here, but up, you know, when you hit 4,500 RPMs, it's still climbing in power. That's what it's showing on my dyno, guys. So keep that in mind for all you guys wanting to remove the governor. Do it at your own risk, 100%. Yeah, so do it at your own risk for sure. All right, so I hope you enjoyed the content of us going a little mods to the little 79cc mini bike. We're gonna have more content coming for sure. I want to do some various things to this thing and push this engine to the limits on
on stock internals. I'm going to port this thing out probably, and it likes the stock exhaust, and honestly this exhaust is a little bit obnoxious on the loud side. So one, we make more power on the slightly modified stock exhaust, and two, it almost just doesn't sound too well at all, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the content. Hey, if you're new to the channel, jump down there and subscribe, guys. Share the video, like, comment, tell me what you want me to do next on this thing. We have a surprise coming soon for you guys. We have an upgraded carb we're gonna throw on this old pitter, and we got another surprise too, but I'm not gonna ruin that yet. But because the only reason I'm not gonna ruin that yet, because I'm not sure it's gonna happen, but we're really getting into pitters. I want to race pitters. So I might spoil it already. But yeah, so video is probably going to be us just trying to push a little bit more power out of this thing, make it a little bit more snappier for the wheelies, make it a little bit more snappier for out here on the track, guys. But thanks for watching Digging Deep. Until next time.